The prison had been overrun for some time. UC guards long abandoned their posts. I had tried to stay out of it for some time, but the universe has a way of forcing you to address survival. The hunter was still in its infant stage, but nonetheless hungry. I could see that it definitely wanted to kill me. I knew one way or another it would get in. The locks had been compromised during the riots, so I went under my bunk and grabbed my shiv. I walked towards the door, steadied my hand, tightened my grip. Then I opened the door. Quickly, I bursted into the hallway, thrusting my blade into the creature over and over until it yelled out in defeat. I looked up, touched the railing, and headed towards the T in the platform, looking to the right, thinking to myself, I haven't seen these stairs in 3 years. My victory was short-lived as I stared into the other corridors of the other cell blocks, thinking to myself, this is hell on ice. The prison riot had actually evolved into a battle, shaking the entirety of the prison's infrastructure to its core. I was the only prisoner left on the planet. The others had escaped on a starship. I knew now that if I was going to make it out of this, I was going to have to use all my energy and all my intelligence. I thought I would eventually have to fight my way into the guard tower. But when I arrived, I realized there was nothing left of the UC officers except corpses. I knew about the prison riot, but what I didn't know is that all of the prisoners had escaped, killing all the guards, escaping on a vessel. I composed myself searching through the files, but all I found were transmissions from UC officers begging for backup and reporting massive casualties. But it wasn't the prisoners that finished them off. It was something else. The creatures. The creatures had actually taken over after the prisoners had escaped. I found a correspondence from a UC officer that said he was held up above the cafeteria with significant firepower to be able to handle the monsters. When I got there, I realized he must have died right after the transmission because the ammo and the gun itself were still actually on the rack itself. Didn't look like he had a chance to use it. I walked over towards the officer and took what I could off of his corpse. Steadied myself and decided to head on into the cafeteria so that I may find whatever actually wounded the officer so gravely. I thought to myself, the hunter should start praying because the prey has returned. It didn't take long before I could hear the clicking of the hunters moving around. I raised the gun, looked around, slowly walked into the cafeteria thinking, I don't want to die in this prison. The monsters were hideous, unintelligent, but quick. This damn gun must have been made by the best manufacturer in the galaxy. I swear it doesn't miss. It took me a while to figure out how to get out. I roamed around for a long time. Guards didn't really let us figure out our way around the prison beforehand. But at some point, I went from being scared to having fun. See, because being locked in a cell for the better half of 3 years gets to you. And I gotta admit, even to myself, that when that happens to you, even bad interactions feel good. At some point, I developed some sort of sick, twisted relationship with these creatures. I mean, I was killing them, but somehow, some way, I liked them. Like a pet. I mean, yeah, sure. Pet that wanted to kill me, but it was the only interaction with anything that I'd had in years. I don't remember how long it took for me to decide to leave after the prison riot. But I do remember playing with the creatures. Some sort of twisted game of fetch. Where obviously I never lost. They paid a heavy price for the games that I was playing with them. I would jump around, toying with them. I became real skilled with the rifle. Before I knew it, I'd made it to find my way around the facility like the back of my hand. And it wasn't long before I found pretty much everything that I needed to get myself off of the planet. Hell, I even found some mining equipment on the way out the door. I knew if I was going to be going out into the cold, I was going to need resources. I used to be a miner, so finding and putting the equipment together really wasn't hard. Actually, second nature. It's been a while, but it's like riding a bike. Being a miner, it's kind of like being a criminal. At first, it's not something you're used to. But then once you start, it's kind of all you know. The planet was cold, but somehow I was more comfortable out there than I could ever be inside that prison. I never looked back.